the beginning of World War II. More than anything else, this video is just setting the stage for World War II. So, during this time period of the Great Depression and everything, you're going to see that there's a lot of isolationists in Congress and the United States. A lot of this appeals to people because a lot of Americans were really disillusioned by America's participation and role in the Great War, which comes to be known as World War I. A lot of people viewed World War I as it was really more of a war to save, capitalists and profits more than actually help secure democracy around the world. Now, FDR himself is not an isolationist, but given that America was going through the Great Depression, he felt like that warranted his primary focus should be on domestic recovery rather than international issues. That being said, he still does get involved internationally. It's things like trying to help American trade and the economy by doing things like establishing ties with the Soviet Union and extending formal recognition of the Soviet Union that has now been established under the whole Bolshevik communist revolution. Unfortunately, even though they extend this recognition, trade never comes with the Soviet Union, and that was kind of the hope of that. We are going to see United States troops had left a lot of Latin America during Hoover's administration. FDR is continuing on with that good neighbor policy as well when it comes to South and Central America. But we are seeing the signs of World War II already. So Hitler came into power in Germany in 1933, really actually shortly before FDR first entered the White House. Now, Hitler, when he came into power, is going to pledge to restore German pride and German nationalism, and he is going to establish a fascist government. Fascism is basically combining three different points. The first is having a dictator. The second is basically forcible suppression of any kind of opposition. So this is when you only have like one party in a country and everything because all the other parties are suppressed. And the third is very much control of commerce and industry. So the government is controlling the industries. So this is exactly what happens with Hitler. He has a one-party dictatorship that's very closely aligned with corporate interests. He also, on top of that, is going to be committed to a, and I quote, biological world evolution. Basically, he wanted to purify the German race, so to speak, race being in kind of quotations. This would be through the elimination of undesirables. During this time period, we're going to see two acts of aggression that are kind of setting the stage for World War I. So we're going to see Benito Mussolini, the Italian leader who gained power in Italy in 1922, is actually going to attack Ethiopia in 1935. And Germany is going to implement a plan of conquest where they remilitarize the Rhineland in 1936 and annex Australia basically forcibly in 1938. So these kinds of aggressive actions are really setting the stage that there is going to be some sort of conflict. But America does not want to get involved. And a lot of isolationists in the Congress means they can actually implement acts to force America not to get involved. And these are going to be the neutrality acts. These were specifically designed so that America could continue trade in this mounting European crisis, but prohibit the president from taking sides. So it's things like the neutrality acts would prohibit Americans from traveling in a war zone. So that goes right back to the lessons learned from World War I. They would prohibit Americans from making loans to belligerent nations, because that undermines neutrality, which is going back to lessons learned from World War I. They would institute an embargo against armaments to belligerents, because once again, if you're arming one side, clearly you're not truly neutral. These prohibitions were made semi-permanent in 1937, They're also going to add that belligerent nations had to pay for American goods in advance of shipment. This is called cash and carry. So they had to pay basically the cash before we actually gave them the goods. So they couldn't just buy on loans. Still, as America has set their stage for what their role they want to have in World War II, Hitler is going to start pushing for more. And so we're on the verge of World War II here, and this is where we'll start with the next video.